The music industry sells fame, fortune, and the dream of making it big, but behind the spotlight is a world most people never see. Exploitation, manipulation, control, broken artists, and a system that often profits from talent while destroying the people behind it. This series pulls back the curtain on what really happens behind the music. This is the dark side of the music industry. There is a serious allegation buried inside some recent investigative research that parts of the music industry may be functioning as a laundering system for criminal money. In this episode, we're breaking down the core claim. We'll tackle this in 6 parts: the main claim, the alleged players, the reported mechanics, the line between supported evidence and allegation, the human impact, the unanswered questions that remain. The core idea starts with a different way of looking at the industry. In this view, the songs, the tours, and the flashy videos are not always the real product. They can function as a visible layer, while the real objective sits underneath, hidden in the money flow. The main allegation is that part of the music business has, at times, been used as a system to make dirty money look legitimate. In that model, entertainment becomes cover, and the reported revenue becomes the mechanism that gives questionable money the appearance of clean business income. For a system like that to look believable, it needs a public face. Research describes that role as a frontman artist, someone presented as a rising success story whose public career helps legitimize the activity happening behind the scenes. The source material lays out a hierarchy of alleged players: financial backers at the top, street-level intermediaries lower down, artists as the public face, record label infrastructure adding legitimacy, and venue owners or promoters acting as critical handling points inside the system. The reported mechanism centers on venues. In simple terms, the allegation is that live events can be used to create reported income that appears larger than the real event activity, allowing suspicious cash to disappear inside a legitimate-looking revenue trail. And the key point is not one show, it's repetition. If the reported pattern is happening across many levels, many venues, and over long stretches of time, the scale grows fast. The research also points to a second red flag: manufactured wealth, the visual signs of success. Cash, jewelry, cars, the whole image package may sometimes be rented, borrowed, or staged to reward. The whole image package may sometimes be rented, borrowed, or staged to reinforce the illusion that the artist's success is organic and self-sustaining. Then, there's the pattern some researchers describe as the disappearing artist, someone who seems to explode into view and then vanish just as quickly. The alleged explanation is that when funding behind the image dries up, the public success story collapses with it. This is where discipline matters. Some parts of the story involve patterns the sources describe as supported: suspicious venue activity, fabricated numbers, and the use of entertainment spaces as financial cover. Other offers go much further, especially when they suggest direct knowledge or coordination by major corporate players. That is where the line shifts from supported pattern to unproven allegation. And that is why this matters beyond the headline. The system, described in sources, is deeply predatory. It targets artists chasing a break, especially those without protection, experience, or strong legal guidance. The dream of fame becomes leverage, and the cost can be ownership, income, and long-term control over their future. And the most unsettling possibility is some talented artists may enter the industry without realizing the game they think they're playing is not the real game at all. They believe they're entering entertainment, while the actual incentives around them may be very different. The research places these claims on a long timeline, from earlier venue-based patterns in the 90s and early 2000s, to later witness accounts, to more recent insider discussion during the pandemic era. Whether all of these accounts connect into one larger system is still an open question. Some of the sources go a step further and suggest future legal exposure may be coming. That remains a prediction, not a fact. But it shows how seriously some insiders say they view the potential scale of what has been happening. And that brings us to the biggest question going forward. If the older model depended on venues and physical cash, what happens in a digital world? Could streaming systems, fake engagement, and algorithmic manipulation become the new frontier for manufacturing success and hiding financial gains at scale? That question is still unresolved, but it suggests this story is far from over.
So, what do we do with this? At the very least, we start paying attention to symbols instead of brushing everything off as random style or entertainment. Whether someone agrees with the deeper interpretation or not, the bigger point still matters. Music culture is full of repeated images, repeated phrases, and repeated behaviors that shape the way people think without even noticing it. So watch more carefully. Ask what gets glorified, what gets repeated, and why certain ideas always seem to travel together. Because the dark side of the music industry is not just the contracts and money. It may also be in the imagery, the rituals, and the messages hiding in plain sight. And sometimes what hides under the surface is not just symbolism or messaging. Sometimes it's money that doesn't add up, and an industry that may be useful for far more than music. The next chapter is The Laundromat, how the cartel uses rappers.